suppose we'll move on and we'll discuss Andy Moran. He's taken over as Leitrim senior football manager. Definitely, I suppose, an appointment that definitely surprised a lot of people in many ways, because obviously Andy Moran, having retired back in 2019, he's obviously done a lot of media work since then as well. He's obviously got his own podcast as well with Paddy Andrews and Tommy Rooney over and off the ball. He comes in as Mayo, or he comes in as Leitrim senior football manager. An exciting appointment, definitely for Leitrim fans and from a Leitrim point of view. So, what was your take on that?
I think it's an absolute brilliant appointment for Leitrim, and it's not just a former player coming in and getting the experience like a Paul Galvin at Wexford, for example. I just think Andy Moran has all the attributes to become a new manager. You see him off the ball with Paddy Andrews; he speaks very well, and even on TG Carr, that interview after the Leitrim final, he does speak very well. And even looking at that, I watched the Leitrim final last Sunday. There's a lot of positives that Andy Moran could take out of that game. For example, Keith Byrne, I think, scored 9 points the last day, and you've Ryan O'Rourke there as well. There is some brilliant footballers at Leitrim, but yeah, I'd say Proposal B will actually do Andy Moran well for Leitrim over the next few years as well. So with them players coming through, with Proposal B probably coming in as well, giving them more games, more exposure, I think it's an absolutely brilliant appointment for Leitrim, and it's great that they're going left field. They could have easily gone for, I don't know, Mickey Moran or someone like that, and it'd be repetitive. But they've gone for Andy Moran. In fairness to them, they've taken the deep plunge here. And look, Andy Moran will be an outstanding coach. As I said, he does speak well and off the ball. He spoke well at TG Carr the last end. Look at the talent coming through Leitrim. But still, there is the game against Mayo, and Leitrim need to fix up them problems then. But Ryan O'Rourke wasn't playing that day, for example. He'll probably come back into this team now with Andy Moran coming in. The excitement levels will come up a bit. And even Ryan O'Rourke was on my podcast. He was actually confident that they'd win a Connacht title. So you could see their ambition here in Leitrim, and I hope it goes well for Andy Moran. He's a likeable guy. He's one of my favourite players ever to play the game. And I hope it goes well for Leitrim as well, because they're a brilliant county. They have brilliant players coming through. Keeper, Ryan O'Rourke being two of them. The McGoverns as well, one of them scoring a goal the last day, a crucial goal for Ballinamore. So I hope it goes well for them. I really hope it goes well for them. And with this Proposal B coming in, and they could take a crack off the Charlton Cup next year. They may not win it now, but they could get to, I don't know, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and that'd be absolutely brilliant for Leitrim football. It'll raise the bar a small bit. So I just think it's a brilliant appointment. Again, like Keith Ricken, I think it ticks most of the boxes. And good luck to Leitrim, because Andy Moran was an outstanding player. I hope it goes well for him in management, because he seems to really want to get the management gig right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose that seems to be the way forward now for I suppose the so-called weaker counties. I mean, you've seen Louth obviously got Mickey Hart in. We've seen Sligo, who've obviously got Tony McEntee in, former Armagh footballer. We've seen Antrim go at Enda McGinley. Obviously Kildare had Jack O'Connor for a brief period of time. Offaly of John Mon. This seems to be a common trend, and I think it's the right thing to do. And in all honesty, especially if it's a young, vibrant coach like Andy Moran coming in, fresh off of playing the game, no one really there's no one really out there better than him to come in and share his ideas with some of those Leitrim footballers. And I think it will give a buzz around the county as well. And you even seen it in the county final there at the weekend. Obviously, Ballinamore getting that win over Mohill, their first county title in 31 years. So tremendous achievement for them. And you could see even I think it's definitely just given an extra buzz around the county. And I think there's players probably in Leitrim who are maybe thinking, is there a reason to come back to the panel in 2022, or, should I come back, or maybe, I'm just not bothered with it. And you can completely understand for a lot of Leitrim footballers why they have stepped away quite early over the past couple of years, early on in their careers. So this will give them that motivation that you need. You're working with a tremendous footballer, and Andy Moran, footballer of the year winner, all-star winner, all the rest, and he's coming into a team. And and I think another thing that interests me as well, Andy Moran was tipped to take over Longford at one point in time as well. Longford were apparently the front runners, and I don't know what happened there, what broke down there, but the fact that because Longford, with all due respect, probably would have been a better job for him to take. I think they're a team that could push for promotion from Division 3, whereas taking over Leitrim in Division 4, he's really going to have to build and over the next couple of years. So the fact that he's taken that Leitrim job over the Longford job, I think speaks volumes as well to the fact that he probably believes that there is a serious team in Leitrim that he can work with.
And it'll probably build up his profile as well. Like, to take Leitrim from the doldrums of losing to Mayo by that margin, 24 points, to potentially going and doing very well in the Tailteann Cup, like, that'll be an outstanding achievement for Andy Moran, and it shows the ambition of him becoming a manager as well. Like, he was a great player, he was a tenacious player, and he's provided that in his managerial game, in fairness, as well, with taking on this job. I think it ticks all the boxes for both Andy Moran and for Leitrim. It gives Andy Moran the exposure of trying out new things in his managerial career and trying to win the Tailteann Cup with Leitrim. I think that'll be his aim, in all honesty. And you look at the Leitrim players, I think they'll be buoyed by disappointment. I think they'll be absolutely starstruck. And you look at players like the forwards, Keith Byrne, the McGoverns, Ryan O'Rourke, I think they'd want to relish under this coach, knowing what he's achieved over the last few years. And I think it's a brilliant appointment for both the Leitrim players, the Leitrim people as well, because the Leitrim fans now will get behind the county even more, seeing as disappointment comes in, and Andy Moran will relish the crowd, no doubt about that. And for Andy Moran himself, I think it's an outstanding job opportunity here, and best of luck to Leitrim, because they definitely deserve some happiness over the next few years, because last year was a bit of a joke, in all honesty. They finished last in Division 4 and then got hammered against Mayo. So I hope it goes well for Leitrim. I hope it goes well for Andy Moran, because speaking to Ryan O'Rourke on my podcast, they're a pro-county. They work as hard as anybody else around the country, and they definitely deserve to have their day out in the sun. And I think the Tailteann Cup, or Proposal B as well, could provide that for Leitrim fans, for Leitrim people, and for Andy Moran, giving him the exposure of doing well with a small county.
Yeah, like the Tailteann Cup is definitely a realistic game, all right. Like, I think everyone realistically knows, like, winning a Connacht title, although Ryan O'Rourke was saying on your podcast, like, there's definitely a possibility and he believes they can do so, and fair play. Like, you have to admire that ambition and that kind of belief within yourself, and maybe they might go on to prove us wrong. We've seen provincial shocks happen in the past, and I think Leitrim won it back in, I think it was 94 or one of those years anyway, where they shocked everyone and beat Galway in the final. So it's not impossible, you wouldn't rule it out, but it probably is highly unlikely given the strength of Mayo and Galway, and given how far above they are. And you've obviously got Roscommon in there, Sligo as well, so it'd be very tough for Leitrim to ever achieve such a feat like that. But Tailteann Cup is a realistic possibility, and even like with Proposal B, finishing first in Division 4 would give you a qualifier game. And I know straight away a lot of people would probably look at Cavan as the serious favourites to finish first, and I'd agree with that. I would put Cavan at first in this moment in time as well, but I think after that there's a lot of counties in transition, a lot of counties that are trying to bring through young players. Tipperary will have a lot of players leaving their panel, a lot of players getting older, so the possibility to get promoted back to Division 3 isn't impossible. And I think people forget as well, when Leitrim played Derry in the league back in 2020, I think it was, when Derry obviously got promoted from, or they didn't get promoted that year, but Leitrim and Derry were both in Division 3, and Leitrim drew it with Derry, and you've seen how far Derry have kicked on since then. So I don't think it's highly impossible that Leitrim don't even make a run for promotion and maybe even shock everyone and win Division 4.
Yeah, absolutely. You can absolutely dream big. And as well as that, as well as drawing to Derry, they actually beat Louth as well. And Louth are doing very well under Mickey Hart. So, look, it's absolutely brilliant for Leitrim. And Terry Hoyland definitely got the best out of them players. But I think with Andy Moran coming in with his status as a player, achieving all them goals of Mayo and being an outstanding player these days, the bar would be set even higher for these Leitrim players. And I think they'll relish this opportunity. But yeah, as you said, I'd have Cavan as favourites, the right favourites in Division 4 as well. But after that, after Cavan, I think Leitrim could actually beat anybody, to be in all honesty. Like, Sligo have done well under Tony McEntee, in fairness. Tipperary, I think the talent has dried up a small bit in Tipperary, so that's a name. They could beat Tipperary. That'll be a major scalp for the people in Leitrim. And you look at who else is there, Waterford, London, Carlow. I think Leitrim could definitely hold their own against those counties, with Andy Moran coming in with the talents that was shown last Sunday in the club final, with Ryan O'Rourke, with Keith Byrne, with the McGoverns there as well. Conor Reynolds, I think, is still cornerback, and I think I watched him against Mayo during the last lockdown. I think it was 2020 championship, and he was absolutely outstanding that game. So Leitrim definitely have the players. There's no doubt about that. They definitely have a decent starting 15. It's the problem is, I think, getting the players to actually play for Leitrim rather than go abroad. And I think with the Tailteann Cup and Proposal B coming in and Andy Moran coming as manager, that won't be a problem anymore for these Leitrim players. And I think fair play to them. They will finally do well over the next few years. And as shown by their final last Sunday, by their Division 3 experience of the last few years, and even in Division 3, I thought they were competitive enough, in fairness to them. Like, against Cork, well, Cork ran away with it at the end, but Leitrim definitely put it up to them. I know Cork have struggled over the last few years, but Leitrim challenging Cork, you wouldn't have said that years ago, in all honesty. So the talent is there in the starting 15 Leitrim. It's just getting the players on the bench, getting players to play for Leitrim rather than go abroad. And I think with Proposal B, with the Tailteann Cup, with Andy Moran, I think it's possible for these Leitrim players. And best of luck to them. I definitely wish them the best.